Hi, so this is Ms. Cooper here with a video showing my thought process behind doing a larger isometric drawing of a structure. So for this one, I wanted to try adding letters to the side of a structure. I didn't have anything in particular in mind, but I did start with the letter A. When I started, I became a little unsure of myself, so I grabbed some scratch paper I had laying around, made a new grid, and figured out exactly how to make the letter A work on paper, and I did a really quick job. It was a little lopsided, but this was because I knew I was just kind of getting ready for the final drawing, and it didn't have to look perfect. I erased the little bounding box around the letter A, and then I sent it backwards into space. After that, it took me a second to figure out exactly what I wanted to do, but then I decided to put the letter A on a wall of my structure. I was making this along as I went, and I decided maybe I should try doing some kind of staircase or broken edge to the side of this structure, and then I sent that backwards into space too because I was happy with how it went. At this point, I moved my camera so you can see how I did the top of my tower. I added the letter K, and I became unsure of myself a couple times, so I sped this up a lot so you don't have to see all of my thinking time. I spend a lot of time thinking when I'm making something up just for fun, just to make something up, but that's kind of the fun part of it, is that time to reflect on my artwork. At this point, I decided to put the letter K on the wall too, kind of like I did to the letter A, and after much deciding, I decided to extend that platform backwards just a little bit and make a little hole in the floor that was kind of shaped like a little awkward right angle at the top. It took me a while to figure out how I wanted the K to fit into everything else, but eventually I decided to put a platform on top of the A and have the K rest on it. I added a staircase because I love staircases, and the staircase also gave me some time to think about my next move. I added on a platform because platforms are fun. That's generally what I like to do. I like to make a bunch of those and connect them together. So I started making another one off to the side and decided, you know what, I would make a ramp for that. That works out. So after much erasing, I finished my ramp and decided that I needed to extend the platform backwards to make this look the way I wanted to. After that, I decided to connect some of my platforms with a little pathway and make them one big platform, and then I dropped it down into space because I was happy with how it looked. After that, I moved on to another side with the letter C. I started by curving it, and it took a little while to get it into the shape that I wanted it to be, and then I started sending it out into space, and I wasn't happy, and it was just getting really annoying, and so then I decided to push it back a little further, and then I really wasn't happy again. And so then, after some calming breaths and a bit of deliberation, I decided to just erase it and make a new one that was a different shape. And I was much happier with this one because it fit the overall shape and style of my design a lot better when I made it kind of blocky. After some erasing at the bottom, I decided to tuck in the bottom of that platform and then go back up to the top and add a tower. After this, I was pretty happy with my drawing. I made a couple of corrections and added a block and then a little hole into the middle, and then I added Sharpie, which I sped up a lot because nobody needs to watch 5 minutes of me Sharpieing my design. After that, I picked up my colored pencils and decided to make each block a different color and to make the letters stand out. I wasn't working with a lot of different colors of pencils, so I just layered them a lot. I worked with 2 shades of red and then let purple and orange do the rest to make my pencils look a little bit lighter or darker or more interesting. I also found that the particular brand of dark red pencil didn't really work with the other pencils, so I ended up going back in after the video and changing that up a little bit. Anyway, after that I moved on to shading the block with the C, and I used a dark blue, a lighter blue, and a green colored pencil to do the shading. So I used a lot of dark colored pencil in the background and then added the light over it to make it darker but not too terribly dark, so the shadow at the bottom could still be dark, and I added some green To lighten it up, I continued adding more colors to the rest of my structure, just ones that would stand out well with each other, bright pencils. I didn't really dull them down or anything. I wasn't going for realism here. I was really just going for fun, exciting colors, things that would make me happy. So I continued adding those on. If you ever want to know how I do colored pencil blending, I do have a video for that, along with other videos about how to use an isometric grid. This video is really more for you to see my thought process than to learn how I use the materials, but I'd love if you went back and saw those, because I feel like that, I don't know, it gives you a lot more confidence when you try to tackle something like this. I continued with the colored pencil, and I was on the home stretch at this point, just kind of considering my last colors as I went. I kind of wish I'd made the green areas look a little more different from each other, but that's okay. It still worked out. It looked very fun. I enjoyed the little tower I added at the top too, but when I got to the end, I felt like something was a little bit missing when I finished the colored pencils and adding all the colors. So I stepped back, I looked at it, and realized I could grab a black colored pencil and add little shadows underneath to make it look like it was rising from the paper. And I was really happy with how this turned out. I just added the pencil to anything that was a ledge or a cube that was kind of floating in space and didn't have anything super directly beneath it. And I think this added the final touch that really brought this together. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Check out any of my other videos if you want to learn the skills, but I'll leave you with that. So thanks for sticking around and seeing my thought process. Thanks.